Yo, 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 what's going on, people? Come on in, come on in. Revenge, revenge. Dillian Whyte gets the knockout. He stops Alexander Povetkin in 4 rounds. We are live here on Twitter and YouTube. Welcome to the Boxing Lowdown if you are new. And fan talk. Any of you guys want to come on, want to talk about the fight, want to let me know what you feel, let me know. I'll send a link across to you guys and we can talk about it. But what a performance from Dillian Whyte, man. He did his thing. It was really from the first round onwards. It was really just like the first fight, to be honest. I mean, Dillian Whyte was in control up until obviously the first fight. We saw the ending where Povetkin knocked him out, but before that, Dillian Whyte was in the driving seat, and it was the same for this particular fight here. I mean, he was in the driving seat the whole way round, and it was a really dominant performance from Dillian Whyte. Resounding win. He gets the knockout. He puts himself back in the heavyweight picture. Dillian Whyte, wow, man. Brilliant performance from him. Povetkin, for me, man, he just looked like an old man again. Wobbly legs from the opening round. He just didn't have his balance there. From the opening round, he just didn't really have it. And it was a great win for Dillian Whyte. What I'm going to do now is just send a link out to some people, hopefully get some reaction, get you guys to jump on. And it'll be great to hear from you guys, man. So I'm going to start sending this link out. And feel free to let me know your thoughts in the chat. All of those people that are new, feel free to jump on. Let me know your comments and what you'd like to see next for Dillian Whyte. But he got his revenge. He got his revenge. And, going into this fight, a lot of people did pick Dillian Whyte to win it due to the way how he was so dominant in the first fight. But there was the danger. Povetkin always presented the danger in terms of how he ended the first fight with that uppercut and the mindset that Dillian Whyte was going to be in. Like, how was he going to be going in there against the guy that flattened him? Well, we saw it tonight. He looked brilliant. He looked fantastic. He was wild at times. He was really, you could tell he was eager to get that knockout, but he got it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it was the youth, the strength, the size. I think all of that just combined really was just too much for Povetkin at this stage, who is 41, 42 years old. And, he was recovering from COVID. I don't want to make excuses for Povetkin, but his age did show tonight. It did show. So let's try and get some people on. I'm going to send out the link out to some people now, and hopefully we can get you guys' opinions on it. I think I've got someone as well. Let's get some people on. Got one guy right here, Ian Hamilton. What's happening, man?
Man, what a demolition! Yes.
Brilliant performance there from Dillian Whyte, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness, it was like that. I'm gonna say it. That's like that for me is one of it. I think that's his best performance. I mean, in the last few years that I've been watching him since 2014, 15, I think that's the best performance I've seen from him. That was a perfect boxing display from Dillian.
It was, like I said, it was a resounding win. It was a very comprehensive. Do you know what I mean? No room for error there. But Povetkin, what was your thoughts on him? Because to me, he just from the opening bell. He looked off balance. He didn't really look. I'm not giving any excuses for Povetkin, but he just looked a bit off balance. Just didn't really seem with it at all. He looked like a real old man tonight, didn't he?
He did. And look, I've already spotted some people trying to put it on COVID. Well, that was like in November, months ago. So he's had time to recover from that. And you know what? Povetkin, like in the times I've watched him, ever since AJ, he's always looked a bit like when he gets hit, he does look. Even Michael Hunter wobbled him. He just didn't finish him, and and Dillian put him down. He just didn't finish him. But he's even when he's hurt, he was still a live dog. So even when Dillian had him hurt, I was always like, oh, don't go in too close. Don't go in too close. He might catch you. But yeah, he definitely looked he's in his early 40s. I'm sure he is like 41, 42. He definitely looked it. He definitely looked it. I mean, maybe I'm starting to think AJ's just demolition of him he's still feeling that shot AJ hit him with.
Yeah, I think for me, Povetkin really started to look his age from that Hunter fight. I know that AJ was a devastating knockout, but I think the Hunter fight really started to show me that Povetkin was, really starting to show his age. He's been in the game for a long time. Yeah, and the first fight with Dillian Whyte, let's be honest, other than the knockout, he was completely overwhelmed in that as well. It was similar to this fight. Do you know what I mean? He was overwhelmed. And in the second fight here, he was overwhelmed again. But this time, Dillian Whyte ended matters how he should have done, really, in the fourth round, ironically.
And also, I'm going to say, it's going to be easy to say this, but I think a little bit of credit has to go you could see in the corner work, he was listening to Harold Knight every time he talked to him, and and what was Harold? We could hear him saying, set up with your jab," and that's exactly what Lennox did. It was like maybe that's why he hired him, because he thought, you worked with Lennox, work your magic with Lennox with me. And I mention Lennox all the time. You might notice I use him a lot as a reference point, and always use the jab first. And Dylan did exactly that. I wouldn't be surprised if he spoke to Lennox before this, and Lennox, his advice would just been hit him with your jab first, then hit him. But yeah. So credit has to go to Harold Knight, the whole team. But I think Harold Knight, with his sound advice, would have perhaps kept him calm and all that, because you need a calm head like him and a wise head to remind you of what the task at hand is.
Absolutely. Well, Dillian Whyte gets the win. What next for him now? Obviously, we know that it's looking like AJ and Fury are going to be tied up now. If you're Dillian Whyte, if you're managing Dillian Whyte, where would you want him to go? What direction would you want him to go in? Because he has the interim belt, so technically he's in line waiting, but he's not the mandatory right now. So what would you like to do next for Dillian Whyte?
My heart says chase Deontay Wilder till the end of time, but then I'm thinking, do you want that? It's difficult, isn't it? Because do you want him in a fight where kind of he's gonna win it, but you just don't know? It's difficult because he's gonna have to wait a while now with Fury and AJ looking like they're tied up. So it's what motivates him. It needs to be someone who at least gets his juices up. I mean, I think he gets his juices up for anybody, but someone who that danger. And let's be honest, we're perhaps going to hear a lot of noise of him Wilder for this week. But we all know where that went. We all know where that went for the last few years. But I don't know. I think we all kind of weren't looking past this. So whoever it is, I mean, I'm trying to really think. There's nobody that springs to my mind right now. I mean, nobody's springing to my mind right now because I've just relieved he's won. But obviously, people are going to be screaming Wilder. But does Deontay want it? And let's be honest, he didn't want him when he was champion. So let's see if Deontay's got the guts now.
Ian, always good to have you on, my friend, man. Thank you for your opinions as always. And I'd love to see the Wilder fight. Hopefully we get to see Wilder back in the ring soon.
That would be a very X-rated build-up. You need parental guidance for that build-up.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro. But listen, Ian, have a good night, man. Thank you for giving me your opinion, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, bro.
Sure, mate.
Nice one. Ian Hamilton there, enough respect to him. Going through some comments here. Conrad Boxing has put here, strong performance from Whyte. Respect, absolutely. Mohammed Zishan has put here, Michael Hunter next. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Michael Hunter, yeah, that's not a bad shout. Michael Hunter and Dillian Whyte, I wouldn't mind that at all. Not a bad shout, because Hunter picked Povetkin to knock Whyte out, didn't he? So maybe, there could be a little bit of needle there from Whyte's end, but who knows? We'll see. I'd like to see that, definitely. Definitely, that's a good fight. I'm going to get some more people on here. I've got my guy Shane waiting for me, and I can't wait to hear his opinion on this fight. So let's bring him in. Let's hear what Shane has to say and get his thoughts and opinions on this actual fight. Shane, what's going on, my brother?
Can you hear me? Am I clean?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. I can hear you. You're clean. Let's hear what you got to say, man. What's your thoughts on that rematch?
You answered a lot of questions. A lot of people thought he might be gun shy and stuff like that. I didn't think that, because Dillian Whyte's just a naturally brave character. I thought he was a bit I don't want to say over reckless, but for lack of a better word, a bit reckless at times. But I felt like he knew that his man was gone from early. So I guess you can excuse him for being a bit too eager and too hasteful. I'd rather that than him be extremely in his shell and a little bit sheltered. He went out there and he wanted to impress, and he wanted to prove a lot of the doubters wrong, and he did that. So I have to give him credit for that, man.
What was your prediction going into this? I mean, how did you predict the fight?
I knew Dillian Whyte was a physically stronger guy, and I knew Dillian Whyte was physically the more fresher. Whilst he got knocked out in the last fight, I know time isn't on Alexander Povetkin's side. And I feel like just the natural size advantage and the strength and the power, down the line, Dillian Whyte was going to wear him out. I thought he was going to I knew that there was going to be a stoppage, because I just felt like there's no way Povetkin can continue taking that pressure and that power. But I just didn't think it was going to be that early. I thought Dillian Whyte was going to be a bit more, let's say, holding, a bit more grappling, just to keep it a bit safer. Try to wear him out, a bit like what he done with Parker in the first few rounds. And then once it passes round 5, he's going to light him up. But he done it from round 1. So, but Povetkin didn't react well to certain shots. So I guess that's what it was. You know, probably from the early shots that he threw, he didn't react as good as he normally reacts to punches.
I thought Povetkin's balance was really awful tonight, man. I thought his balance was all over the place from round 1.
I watched the fight with my mum, and my mum was like, on the way to the ring, she was like, oh, what's wrong with this guy's ring walk? Why is he walking like this? I'm thinking, as I look it back in detail, and my mum's not a hardcore boxing fan or anything, she just watches boxing with me whenever. But she just noticed that there was something wrong with him while he was walking to the ring. Now, that's just a casual looking at it, but I feel like maybe there was something wrong with him before the fight. You know, he had COVID. You know, we don't know how the camp went and stuff like that. He's an older man, and I said this to Jeff, shout out to Jeff. When a fighter is talking about retirement before a fight, I'm never prosperous. You know, I'm never really confident in their mindset. So that's a big problem for me.
Yeah. When someone talks about retirement before a fight, bro, it just makes me think, you know what, he's got one foot in the door then. When they start talking like that, it just makes me think, you know what, maybe that's what he's thinking. But yeah, I hope Povetkin retires, man. I mean, to be honest, for me, like I said to Ian earlier, he's been looking very shaky since the Michael Hunter fight. I know he got knocked out by AJ, but he looked shaky from the Michael Hunter fight to me. The first Dillian Whyte fight, you know, he was very shaky until he landed that shot in the 5th. And in this particular fight here, you know, he wasn't at the races at all.
This is the thing about Povetkin. He's very good in isolated moments. But I saw something in the Michael Hunter fight, which was when you put pressure and you fight at a frenetic pace, a single isn't always going to be enough. And I felt like Dillian Whyte introduced a fantastic game plan where when you're landing just a single, I just have to wait for you to throw that loaded up power shot. And then anything after that, you ain't going to really throw anything. And I haven't really seen Povetkin damage fighters with more than a 1 piece, really. He doesn't even throw 2 pieces anymore. So with that being said, I don't really feel like there was much to worry about. That's why I wasn't really worried about the fight going into it. I thought Dillian Whyte was going to win comfortably. But it was just can he land that good shot again? And yeah, and he just couldn't. He couldn't. Dillian Whyte overwhelmed him with his power, his size, and his work rate and his engine. Absolutely,
man. Absolutely. Shane, I've got a couple people waiting here in the chat, so I'm going to let them jump in. But listen, I appreciate your feedback as always, bro. And we're going to have to get you on the podcast again soon.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Thank you for getting me on, innit? Like, just quick things, fix things, bro.
Yeah, quick things. I have to rush some people through today. I've got Laurie waiting. I've got 2 other guys waiting. So yeah, we'll chop it up more. But yeah,
I'm gonna stick around for Laurie's. I'm gonna jump off, but I'm gonna be watching it on my phone, so it's cool.
Okay, all right. We'll bring you back in.
All right.
Laurie, we're gonna add you in. I'm gonna speak to 2 guys first, and then I'm gonna get you back in because Shane wants to jump in with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hold out, and I'll get you in.
You want to talk about Dillian or Bivol?
We'll talk Dillian, man. But hold up there. Just wait there. I've got you. I'm just gonna speak to 2 other guys first.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna talk about this Dillian Whyte fight, man. I've got 2 guys waiting to jump on. Agent AR and Fabian. I want to hear their opinion. They've been waiting to jump on this. They've been telling me, yeah, after this fight, get us on. We want to talk about the fight. So let's get them on, man. Agent AR and Fabian. What's going on, brothers?
Yes. Yes. Come on, Dillian.
Talk to me, man. What was your guys?
Still, man, that was big.
What was your guys' thoughts on his performance?
Well,
you know, Povetkin's performance.
Do you know what? Povetkin looked a bit, I don't know, something was wrong with his legs today. I don't know if it's like nervous energy, but Dillian just completely wiped him out. I think he just left off with the first fight, to be fair. He shouldn't have really lost the first fight. He got caught with you say lucky punch, but that's Povetkin's massive punch. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's always going to throw heavy. He's always going to be dangerous. Look at the David Price fight. So, you know what I mean? He always carries that punch. But I just think Dill managed the fight better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was times that he wobbled him and like you could probably probably say you normally want to go in for the kill, but he kind of judged the fight and said not yet kind of thing. Good cornering as well. I thought his corner team gave him the right advice.
Yeah.
Because he was loading up way too much as well when he didn't need to be, leaving himself exposed. But I think he learned from the last fight, man.
Yeah.
I
think a lot of people did say to him, like, Dillian, you didn't go at him the last fight. Like, try and finish him. But he didn't rush it, and that was the main thing. That was because he could have had him out there in the first round, maybe. But, you know, he kept on going, and he got the job done in the end.
Yeah, 100%. I think the good thing about it was the finish. I think he needed to make a statement and need a statement finish to kind of cement. Oh, he's talking about the rematch, but he doesn't need the rematch. But the statement finish.
He was talking about a third fight, wasn't he? I was like, I don't want to see a third fight, man.
Who did he fight next?
Well, that's what I'm asking some of the guys. Some of the guys are saying Michael Hunter, maybe Deontay Wilder. What do you guys want to see? Who do you guys want to see him in with?
I'm saying, listen, yeah, he's not a champion. So what do you want to do? Do you want to make a bit of money and whatever, or do you want an easy fight and then wait for the championship? Because you're gonna have to wait. So you either take the Wilder fight, you take the Ruiz fight, you take the Povetkin fight, or you take like Otto Wallin or Ortiz or something like that. I'm saying, but these guys not agreeing with me.
Hold on, you weren't saying 4 names, bro.
Yeah,
you were saying
I did.
Ruiz or Wilder. Yeah.
No, I was saying that. That's what I was saying.
All right, he's changing it now.
No.
All right, so basically, I think next, me personally, I think Whyte has always put himself in the fire in that. I think personally, his title shot's back. He needs to sit back, take a little ticking over fight. There's options out, you know, take anyone that basically Fury's fought in the last 2-3 fights. Some of them jokers he's fought, or even like a Pulev, who's not a dickhead, but do you know what I mean? Someone that's off notoriety right now. Fight someone like that. I'd stay away from Wilder and Ruiz. Not to say that he can't beat them, but put that on the back burner. You don't need to fight them on. To me, that's going to be on their playing field. Do you know what I mean? They want that fight now. Make them wait. They made you wait, so make them wait and fight them when you're ready. I think he should sit back, take a couple, not easy fights, but tick over fights, and then go for his title shot next year.
That's never been his.
It's not him. That's not his thing. But what did he say? I swear he even said this time he gets an easy fight. Didn't he say that after the fight?
He did. But would you watch it? Would it be pay-per-view? Would it be pay-per-view if he won?
That's the thing with Dillian Whyte's fights now. They all seem to be on pay-per-view. I mean, he puts them all on there, doesn't he? So I don't think he could get away with like a really easy fight. But I think that he'll maybe something like what you guys said, maybe like an Ortiz who is showing his age a little bit, or maybe even a Pulev, like you said. The Pulev would be a good test, like something like that. Yeah, but I'd stay away from Ruiz and Wilder, even though they're great fights. They're very dangerous ones as well, and they're ones that he could easily lose. In my opinion,
they're 50-50s. You know, some people would say that they might even weigh in more for the other guys, but to me, I don't know, man. I'm a Dill fan, innit? I want to see him.
Yeah, we want to see.
You see, yeah. I get that.
If he takes another L now, then where does it leave him? That's what I was saying. Like, if he fights Ruiz or fights Wilder and takes it L, where does it leave him then?
That's very true. Very true, guys. Listen, man.
I do actually want to see him beat Joshua and then them have the third rematch, the third fight. That's what I want to
see him and Joshua have the
fight. Joshua again. 100%.
Yeah.
That was mad. The atmosphere was crazy. We went there. Atmosphere was crazy.
What did you think of the show in Gibraltar? I thought that touch, the coin and all that stuff, I thought it was a nice touch, man.
It was a nice touch, yeah, and I think the undercard was very good tonight as well. I mean, McKinson and Congo was a good fight. Cheeseman and Metcalf, what a fight that was as well. I thought that the whole, just the whole show itself, it was really good, man.
Dust up, complete.
Yeah,
dust
Cheeseman
up.
done his thing.
Absolutely.
Cheeseman always puts his guts out there.
Always represent.
Cheeseman is just like a madman.
For real, guys.
Like a Gatty or something.
Yeah.
Nah, it was good value for money for sure, man, for sure. But listen, guys, I have to get you off because I've got a couple other guys waiting. But listen, I appreciate you all coming on.
Do it again, man.
Respect, bro.
100%, man. We'll be back for Chisora and Parker. We'll get you guys back on.
Go on, Dills.
Big up to my bros, man. Agent AR and Fabian, man. Love every time, man.
Keep it going, man. Keep it going.
Love.
Love, man.
We'll do, brother. Take care, man.
Cool, man.
Bless.
Big up to my guys there, man. Agent AR and Fabian, good friends of mine. Good to have them on. I'm going to get Laurie from AFTV on right now. And while I do, I'll go through some of these comments as well. So we got Laurie here. And some guys are already happy to see you here. I've seen people here. Good to have you here, man. But Terry Smoot Jr. has put good performance from Dillian Whyte. Jeff TV has put a few rounds off, but Whyte got the job done. Conrad Boxing has said here, I regretted my prediction when Povetkin started stumbling around just 1 minute in. Jeff TV has put my bro Laurie right here in the chat. Mohammed Zishan has put, come on, Laurie. So they're all waiting to see what you got to say, man. DS has put here, good performance, aggressive, on the front foot and looked very strong. Loaded up a few times. Could have used his jab more, but you could see he was looking for an early night onwards and upwards. DS has also said, if Dillian took a couple of easy fights, I wouldn't begrudge him. He's been taking risks for years while the WBC take the piss out of him. And he's also said here, only issue with waiting for a WBC shot is AJ and Fury could be tied up for another year. Whyte could be waiting until the end of 2022. And then DS has put, bless up, Unks. Looking forward to hear your thoughts. So a few people, man, want to hear what you got to say about this, man. Repeat, it was revenge for Dillian Whyte, should I say. Resoundful performance. Got the win, 4th round. Give me your thoughts.
Well done, Dillian, man. That was a great performance. The first round, I thought he was loading up a bit too much. I was a bit concerned about him, to be honest with you, because he did hurt Povetkin, and Povetkin's balance. I don't know if he hit him behind the ear, but his equilibrium looked a bit off. Looked a bit off balance, and I think Dillian thought maybe he was more hurt than he actually was. And I think Dillian was loading up, man, big time with some big haymakers, you know what I mean? From downtown Kingston, you know what I mean? And I was a bit worried, man, that he might throw himself off balance and get caught by a good shot. But fortunately, that didn't happen. And from round 2, he established the jab, man. And it was, you have to say, it was easy work. He beat up Povetkin tonight, man. He beat him up and he knocked him out. I don't think you can ask for much more than that, to be honest. I mean, Dillian has his flaws. He still can look a bit cumbersome, a bit awkward himself sometimes. But as some of your guys said earlier, he's great fun to watch. And he can punch, man. He's a genuine puncher at this level. I think he said it himself. He goes, if I catch anybody with that shot, they're going to go down. They might get up, but they're definitely going to go down. And I think he's right. I think he's right.
But Povetkin, for me, though, I mean, I don't want to make excuses, first of all, for Povetkin. Not at all. I thought Whyte was brilliant. It was a resounding win. It was conclusive. He did what he should have done in the first fight, really. But Povetkin, he just looked like a very old man tonight, like he did last time out, like he did against Hunter. But this time it was even more obvious to me. The balance was all over the place. He just didn't, even when he was walking to the ring, looked like he was sleepwalking to the ring. But, like, I mean, I don't want to take too much away from Whyte's performance, man. But don't you think Povetkin was a bit tonight?
Yeah, I do agree. He looked shocked tonight. 100% he looked shocked. But you've got to get in there and get the job done. I mean, we saw in the fight before that, Fabio Wardley was mucking around, posturing and posing, and he got hit by a shot by Eric Molina, and it nearly decked him. He was in trouble. You know what I mean? So at this level, with those guys, those big guys, man, if you switch off and you know what I mean, get a bit sloppy, they can catch you slipping and put you over. So yeah, you're right. I thought there was definitely slippage there in Povetkin. You could see it, even from the previous fight. He didn't seem to have the energy. He looked off balance. He was showing all the signs that he was shot. But I don't want to take too much away from Dillian's performance because let's be honest, man, he had the courage to take the immediate rematch. Deontay Wilder, take note. You see, us Brits over here, that's what we do. When we lose, you dust yourself down, you get the immediate rematch, and you take care of business. You don't start bitching and hollering about referees, gloves, your own trainer spiking your water. You know what I'm saying? That's what real men do. You get in there and you fix it. And fair play to Dillian, that's what he did.
Adil Shawcat in the chat. Haven't seen you before, but welcome. Thank you for the comment. They've put, glad Whyte won. I was so nervous from him. What next for Whyte? Laurie, what would you like to see next for Dillian Whyte?
That's a very good question. And you know what? it's basically going to come down to what Fury and AJ do, isn't it? Really? I mean, incidentally, where's that fight? You know what I mean? Eddie Hearn announced it about a week and a half ago now, and still nothing. I mean, I know they said they were given 28 days to agree a site and a venue and all the rest of it, a date, a site, and you know what I mean? And we've heard nothing since then. So is that fight even going to happen anytime soon? And that's the problem Dillian's going to have, because he's not going to want to sit on his backside forever. I would imagine that the longer this plays out, Dillian's going to feel that he needs another marking time fight. But the problem for that is we've seen what happens sometimes with marking time fights. You know what I mean? So he's got to try and choose an opponent that he's, you know, can get against and look good, but an opponent that is not that bad, if you know what I mean. So it's a bit of a conundrum.
Yeah,
one thing I would like to see him in, though, is Deontay Wilder, but whether that will happen or not, I'm not sure.
It is a conundrum because with Dillian Whyte, he needs to, I'd say stay away from the risky fights, but now he's a pay-per-view fighter now. So what sort of fight could he get away with on pay-per-view if he wasn't some sort of risk? That's the dilemma that he's in right now, because if you're going to, Dillian Whyte, every time he fights now, it's on pay-per-view. You're not going to be able to sell a box office fight against like Whyte against Eric Molina or someone like that. So, I mean, they're going to have to be very measured with it. AJ and Fury is probably not going to happen anytime soon unless that fight collapses. But I think they're going to have to be quite measured in, you know, who they pick for Dillian's next opponent.
Absolutely, because you don't want anyone. You know what I mean? It's a conundrum, man. Like I said before, because there are some guys in there that are not greatly skilled, like Wilder, but they're hellacious punchers. Then you got other guys who are not hellacious punchers, but they're very skilled, the likes of Usyk and Michael Hunter and people like that. So, you know, I mean, it's very tricky, man. And then Dillian, he likes to keep himself active. He likes to fight. He's not going to want to be sitting on his backside for over a year waiting on Fury and AJ to get their shit together. So what does he do? However, I would say if a Wilder fight came up in the meantime, that's almost like a world title fight in itself, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
That's a massive fight, you know, in transatlantic, America versus Britain. Two guys that I've said many times before, they hate each other. It's personal. Two big punchers, you know what I mean? It's a grudge match.
I'd love to see it.
You know what I mean? So that there would be a lot of interest in a fight like that. So, but unless he can get a fight like that, he has to be very, very careful who he chooses next. Because, like you said, he can't get a scrub because you won't be able to sell it on pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you don't want no one that's going to befuddle him like a Michael Hunter and stuff and maybe make him look bad. And then, you know, he ends up coming up the wrong end of a points decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a tricky one, man.
Tricky one.
A lot of those other guys, Chisora, Parker, you know what I mean, and people like that on the way up. So he's not necessarily going to fight those guys again, is he? I would have thought not.
Exactly. Let's go through some comments here. Adil's put, this fight showed us a lot about Dillian. Mentally, he's strong, and I'm glad he took the immediate rematch. Mohammed has said here, I would like to see either Ruiz, Wilder, or Hunter. DS has put here, facts. Adil has said here, by the way, what was that Wardley fight? Weird one to watch that. Yeah, let's talk about that quickly, man.
For number one, Fabian Wardley needs to get back in the lab, man, because, I mean, no disrespect to the guy. He's come from white-collar boxing, and he's made a fast rise to where he is now. But from what I saw tonight, I actually had him losing. I don't know about you.
I had him losing as well.
Losing the fight.
I had him losing too.
And he got hurt. He was hurt quite badly. I saw his post-fight interview. Yeah, I was uncontrolled. No, you weren't, bro. You got wobbled, bro. You know what I mean? You got wobbled. You were looking discombobulated when that shot landed.
Yep.
Fair play to him, though. He stood his ground on the ropes and let his hands go. And he looked like he caught Molina with a shot at the back of the head. But that didn't seem like enough to have him out of there, man. So you wonder. I do agree with Adil. What was going on there? I was watching the fight with my girlfriend, and even she said he didn't get hit.
Johnny Nelson said Johnny Nelson actually said he took a jump. That's what Johnny Nelson said about
Yeah,
Molina.
yeah. Well, he said that Molina didn't fancy it after round 2 and was looking for a way out. I don't necessarily agree with that because he was winning the fight. He landed the better shots, and to me, he was winning the fight. Now, listen, we all know he probably wasn't going to get a decision anyway. That's just the way boxing works. That's just one of the idiosyncrasies about boxing. Molina is never going to get a decision. He could have knocked Wardley down every round and twice in the last round, and he probably would have got a draw. So,
I just got some breaking news here on my phone. Just an alert came through, and Alexander Povetkin's promoter Andrei Ryabinski has said he believes that the 41-year-old will now retire. Not confirmed yet, but that's coming from his promoter. Good move in my opinion. I'll get your reaction in a sec. I'll just go through some of these comments. Winner of Chisora versus Parker may be realistic. Whyte versus Wallin with a strong undercard. Conrad has said here Wardley is lacking the basics, and he acts like he's Roy Jones Jr. Was a bit embarrassing. Adil's put here Wardley needs to take his time. Crap performance, but considering there's been zero amateur experience, I'll let it slide. And he said that Wardley was getting caught all night by that right hand. He was. Let me get your reaction to Povetkin's promoter's comments that he may retire. That's a good move, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a wise move. That's all. Because he did look shocked tonight. I mean, like I said, fair play to Dillian. Dillian sought out the immediate rematch. And that was brave of Dillian to do that, because not many people would want to go into an immediate rematch with a guy that knocked you smooth out. But he did that. He got his revenge tonight emphatically. But you could see, and any neutral observer could see, that Povetkin, you know what I mean, he's shot. So he needs to retire. Otherwise, what will happen to him is he'll just become a stepping stone for younger guys, and he'll just get beat up and get hurt. So you don't want that. He's had a great career. He was an outstanding amateur. I think they said tonight on TV, didn't they, that he had over 120 odd amateur fights, only lost 7, won an Olympic gold medal in 2004, where he beat one of the Cubans on the way to winning that. I think he won the World Amateur Championship as well.
Did.
As a pro, he won the world title, as a pro world heavyweight title. He's only lost 3 times, once to a prime Vladimir Klitschko, once to a prime AJ, and now to Dillian Whyte. So, you know, I mean, he's going to have, there's no embarrassment in any of those defeats, but I think it's time now, man, definitely. Plus, he would have well paid tonight. So I would imagine for Eddie Hearn and all them, man, to lure him over to this country in a fight that, let's face it, Povetkin didn't need to take. I would imagine he would have got a bag. So he could walk off into the sunset with his bag, man, and, you know, do whatever he decides to do.
Conrad has said here, I'm a big Povetkin fan and I'm glad he retires. It was painful to watch. Adil has said here, farewell, Povetkin. Great career, Olympic gold medalist and former world champion. Where does he rank in the past 15 years? We'll go back to that, mate. David Smith has said here, why do you think Povetkin has aged so much in less than a year? And Adil has said COVID did Povetkin in before Whyte did. DS has put happy retirement, Povetkin, brilliant fighter in his prime and one tough bastard. And Adil has put here miles on the clock. Despite beating Whyte last year, felt like he did take some damage in the Whyte fight. Let's go back to a previous question here. This one here from Adil. Where does he rank in the past 15 years? I guess it's hard to say, really.
I wouldn't have him as one of the top echelon fighters, but he's definitely a fighter worthy of respect. Put it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would place him. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely worthy of respect. I wouldn't have him up there with the likes of AJ, Fury, Klitschko, and people like that, Lennox and all them, man. He's not in that league.
Maybe just a rung below, maybe.
Yeah.
David Smith has said, why do you think Povetkin has aged so much in less than a year?
That's another good question, but you have to understand that Povetkin, to be honest with you, was probably aging even before the Dillian fight in August. And he's had some hard fights in recent years, hasn't he? I mean, there's a 2 with Dillian. The fight with AJ would have taken a lot out of him. The fight with Michael Hunter was a hard, grueling fight. And let's face it, man, he's into his 40s. And I know he's had some injuries and stuff like that. So I think it's time, man. And don't forget, he would have been boxing from a very young age. Like I said, he had 128, I think, amateur fights over quite a long period of time. that's a lot of punishment on the body, man. Just the training alone, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Wear and tear on the body, and it could just catch up on you, and that's what's happened to him. But if he does retire, I think he's doing the right thing, and I hope he doesn't do what Oscar De La Hoya is threatening to do, and announce another comeback in a few years' time. So, yeah, man, he deserves to retire with his marbles intact and his accomplishments in place. So,
We'll talk about that on Thursday or Wednesday, should I say. Just going to go back to this comment here, Ian. DS has put here, Povetkin looked his age against Hunter. He's been on the decline for a while. And David Smith has, could it have been COVID in all seriousness since he had it?
I would. Well, listen, with COVID, and listen, I had COVID, and it can be quite debilitating, although, thank God, my one was quite mild. But I've heard people say that it took them a long time to regain their full strength and whatever. But we really don't know. But listen, man, we shouldn't make no excuses. He took the fight. He said he was confident. To me, he looked all right on the way into the ring. He looked his normal self. He's always quite laid back, relaxed. But he's got that kind of brooding menace about him, innit? You know what I mean? And he didn't look any different. I think he got a shot behind the ear in the first round that kind of threw his equilibrium off. And after that, his balance looked pretty shot to pieces.
Ian Hamilton has said here, just had to say this. Cheeseman, wow. Never in a dull one. Him versus Fowler, book it. Would be flamed. And I saw Fowler called him out after, respectfully. What a fight, man. Cheeseman and JJ McCarthy. Brilliant fight. Brilliant ending.
By Cheeseman tonight.
Say again?
I was really impressed with Cheeseman tonight. I thought that was one of the best I've seen in box. Because he was trying to box in there tonight as well as go forward. He was showing some good head movement, some good defense. So he's showing little bits of everything tonight. And then I like the way that he gave up something. Well, I wouldn't say he gave up. Fair play to Metcalf. He came back into the fight. And he looked like he was going to push Cheeseman all the way. And then what I liked about Cheeseman is that he then decided he was going to push Metcalf back. And when he did that, he had a lot of success as well doing that. Because physically, of the two, Metcalf actually looked the stronger to me, the physically stronger.
Broader.
But Cheeseman was able to back him up. And that took a bit of a wind out of Metcalf's sails. And then that finisher, man. Because the left hook was there for him all night, I thought. It hurt him a few times with the left hook.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a great fight, man. I think him and Fowler would be a very entertaining fight.
Very good fight that would be, man.
50 fight, man.
The domestic scene at 154 pounds over here is pretty hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at it, man, we got some, and Liam Smith is still here. I know he's kind of like above that, I guess, but he could get drawn back into that picture. But I mean, you've got Kieran Conway, you've got you've got Fitzy coming back, you've got Cheeseman, you've got Fowler. So it's a good division there.
It is, man. Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, Liam Smith is one tough SOB as well. Although he hasn't fought now for what must be a couple of years. So much so that I heard he was contemplating retirement a little while back, a few months back.
He's fighting in Russia next, didn't he? He's got a fight in Russia. I can't remember the opponent, but he's got a fight in Russia coming up. That's been confirmed, Liam Smith.
Okay.
I
hope he's getting well paid for that, because they don't do anything over there.
Sharper Sounds has put here, big up to you both. Glad Dillian got the win, back on track. For real, man. Big up Sharper Sounds here. Thank you for the comment. Adil has put here, pretty sure that fight took years of Metcalf's career.
Yeah, I think it took years off both of those careers. I mean, no disrespect to Ted Cheeseman, but he's 25 going on 45, isn't it? Facially, the way he looks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, to keep reminding us that he was 25. I'm like, right, that's not 25.
Yeah. Every fight is a war.
You
know what I mean? And every fight with Ted Cheeseman, it has its twists and turns and its ups and downs. You know what I mean? They never seem to be straightforward. But I must say, though, there were spells tonight where he boxed really well, though. He was actually trying to use some head movement. He was throwing some very good counters, the uppercuts. He showed some nice variety of shots. Yes, he did get caught when he got tired. He seemed to get a bit disorganized. And Metcalf's sheer will and tenacity, together with his physical strength, made it a really hard fight. But I think Cheeseman's class told in the end, man. I think he win.
let's get your thoughts on before we wrap it up, man. Let's get your thoughts on the rest of the show. I know you didn't catch all of Congo McKinson, but let's talk about Campbell Hatton first. His debut, he was going up against Jesus Ruiz, I believe his name was. You know, let's keep it in perspective here. Campbell Hatton got the job done. It was his first time on a big show. You know, I mean, it was his first time, his debut, actually, should I say. He was thrust out there on a big pay-per-view show. You know, he's got the ghost of his dad's right there, the name. Blue Moon was all playing from the venue. But what did you make of his performance? Because I saw, you know, Twitter can be a very critical place. But when you put it in perspective, I guess you have to say, like, look, Campbell Hatton, he didn't have much of an amateur career. He's being thrust into the limelight on his first, on his debut, so to speak. You know, what was your thoughts on it?
Listen, those guys on Twitter, 99% of them have never even put a boxing glove on in their life. So they're just hypercritical just for the sake of being critical. Now, what I would say is, yes, you can see that he's very raw. And listen, it was his first fight. He's 20 years old. Like you said, he didn't have a very long amateur career. He may look the spitting image of his dad. He may try to adopt a similar fighting style as his dad, but let's be honest, at the moment, he's nowhere near those levels. But they've got enough to work with because he's keen, he's willing, he's enthusiastic. He seems to like the game. Today, he was never really going to get tested. But what I did notice about him, and then we'll have to work on this, is that he was a bit overeager to get the stoppage and try and impress, wasn't he? So I think they'll need to just relax him, you know what I mean, work on the fundamentals. Like, he didn't have much of a jab tonight, you know what I mean? He was easy to hit. He got caught with a couple of shots clean, you know what I mean? So little things like that they'll need to work on. It'll be a gradual building process. He won't be fighting many, if any, fighters with winning records for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights. It's a slow burner, you know what I mean? But he showed some good stuff in there. He showed a good body attack. In fact, I think in the last round there, I think he had that guy seriously hurt to the body. So maybe if there'd have been another 30 seconds left in the round, you might have got him out of there, you know what I mean? And he seemed very keen to get the guy out of there. Yeah. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Conor Benn's. Remember Conor Benn's debut? It was
That's what a lot of people were saying, yeah.
It did kind of remind me of that, where he went all guns blazing, man, trying to get the guy out of there, thinking he could do what his dad done. Both of them were like that. Yeah, I'm going to do what my dad used to do. But both of those two, and Conor Benn, let's be honest, he's come on leaps and bounds since then. But even though he's come on leaps and bounds, he'll never be as good as his dad. That's to me, that's just facts. He can still have a good career though, you know what I mean? But he's not at the level of his dad. And I think you're going to see the same with Campbell Hatton.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. DS has put here, Hatton looks raw, which is understandable. He reminds me of early Conor Benn in that respect, what you just said there. Bring him along slowly, pick his opponents wisely, and he'll be fine. And yeah, also, he hasn't developed his man strength yet. You know, he's still a boy.
He's only 20.
He's still a boy. So yeah, he's got time. Adil has put here, I wish the best for Campbell. Hate it when these fighters are thrusted into the spotlight. Yeah, I mean, I guess he wouldn't have had it any other way with him being Ricky Hatton's son.
I mean, let's keep it 100, though. It's a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? Because he is benefiting from that as well. I mean, how many 20-year-olds are signing big contracts with the likes of 258, making their debuts on a pay-per-view card and getting that type of exposure at 20 years old? I know guys that are outstanding amateurs, you know what I mean, and have won medals, you know what I mean, and ABAs that haven't got that level of attention that he's got. So it works both ways. So I don't think you should complain about it either. But what he should do is just use this as a learning experience, because that's all this was. The guy that he was fighting tonight was 0-10. He was never going to beat Campbell Hatton. I mean, if he'd have beat Campbell Hatton tonight, then you might as well say Campbell Hatton should retire already. But listen, he won all the rounds. He got the win. He didn't look super impressive. But in many ways, that's a good thing. You know that? Because imagine if he'd have gone in there and blown that guy away in a round or two. Then, you know what I mean, he might have got ahead of himself a little bit and started believing in the hype and the headlines. So,
yeah, I agree.
Man, it's a building process, learning process. So.
Let's talk about Chris Congo and Michael McKinson, man. I mean, great performance from McKinson. Conrad has put here, very disappointed by the Congo loss, but McKinson clearly deserved it. He did. He did deserve it.
And you know what? You're right in what you said earlier. I didn't see all the fight, but I have to say I was very disappointed in Chris Congo, man. I've been hyping this guy up. It just goes to show you, man, that stars make fights, and you should never base your opinions off the back of maybe one or two performances. Because after I saw Congo in his last fight, I thought, yeah, man, this guy looks the real deal. You know what I mean? Today he looked very ordinary. I thought McKinson well won it. What was the score?
I think one of the scorecards was by a point. I think the other one was by like 4 points. I think so it's like a few points in there. But like McKinson, he jumped on Congo early. Yeah. He jumped on him early, and I thought the way how he was using his distance was brilliant. I mean, he timed it to perfection. He knew when to leap in. At first, on the eye, it looked like that he was being a bit like ragged with it, but it was working perfectly. I mean, he caught Congo off guard. And it was more of a flash knockdown than anything, but he still knocked him down. And I don't think Congo got started until like the fifth, maybe around the fifth round, fifth round.
Disappointed in Congo, and not only that, man, he was backpedaling. He looked disorganized. He was doing a lot of posturing and posing in there, throwing jabs from out of range. He didn't seem to want it enough. Am I being critical of him? Maybe it's because I was expecting more, but I was really disappointed in him, man. He's going to look back at that tape tonight or whenever, and he's going to be really disappointed in himself because he's a very good boxer and he can do better than that. I don't know if McKinson psyched him out of it, because if you remember in the lead up to this fight, McKinson was talking real confident, man. You know what I mean? His self-belief, got fair play to McKinson, man. His self-belief coming into this fight, the way he was talking, it's almost like he made Congo a bit intimidated by just how confident he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the night, he was coming forward, pressing the action. And like you said, he was awking in there. He knew when to jump on him and when to take a breather. And I didn't really see Congo do any work of any real note. Just keeping it 100, man. I mean, listen, it's one loss. He can come back from that. But it just shows that that boxing, man, is one of those sports where, you know what I mean, you never stop learning in this game. When you think you've mastered, you haven't.
Lastly, before we go, Nick Webb, did you see that? You didn't see that either, did you?
No, I missed it.
He demolished Eric Pfeiffer, man. In 2 rounds, he beat him. And, you know, like everybody was expecting Pfeiffer he was being built up to go places. But Nick Webb, he stopped him in 2 rounds. Great performance from him. Puts himself back there in the limelight. Maybe he should fight Fabio Wardley next.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. Yeah. I mean, listen, man, you wouldn't.
I mean, big things were expected from Pfeiffer, weren't they? I mean, he was lined up to fight Dubois. That didn't happen, obviously. But then, I mean, Nick Webb just great performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Webb's always been a decent puncher, isn't he?
Yeah.
He win the Golden Boxer or one of those competitions a little while back as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the prize fighter type tournament.
Yeah. Big things have been spoken of him, and then he got chinned himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he had to rebuild his career, you know. So, listen, man, it's heavyweight boxing. You get caught, like I said tonight. Fabio Wardley, he was losing tonight, and like I said, I thought he was losing anyway, and he got hurt. But fortunately for him, he came back in that round. He engaged Molina and got him out of there, but on another night, that could have gone very differently. So it just showed me that he is not the kind of levels that they're talking about. He's not anywhere near those levels yet. There's a lot of work to be done there, man.
All right, final thoughts on Dillian Whyte and Povetkin before we wrap it up for tonight, man. We're going to delve more into it in the podcast next week. But just your final thoughts here, because this is just our live reaction. But we'll talk more about it during the week. But let me get your final thoughts on Dillian Whyte, Povetkin too. And just your overall thoughts, before we wrap it up.
Just reiterate, man, well done to Dillian. Great performance. Like I said, him, as Joshua had done before him, they'd lost conclusively. They'd taken an immediate rematch. A lot of people were there second-guessing them, doubting them, saying, boy, you know what I mean, same thing could happen this time. No, he went in there, dominated from start to finish. Highlight reel, knockout to conclude matters. And he's back on top of the world again, man. Like I said, the what they're going to do from now on is where the is where it gets a bit tricky, because I would imagine Dillian's not going to want to wait forever for AJ and Fury to sort out their beef. So he's almost certainly going to take a marking time fight. And as I said before, marking time fights can be very pitful, as we saw when he fought Povetkin. So let's see Dillian and Wilder. Remember Dillian? Let's go! Let's go! Yeah, Dillian Wilder, man. That's what. If you can't get a world title shot, that's the fight I want to see. That'd be a great fight. And I'll tell you something, I would not rule out Dillian in that fight. I think that's 50-50. Before, I would have gone for Wilder hands down. But after the way he got bashed up by Fury and the way things are kind of worked out for him and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And Dillian would have seen that, obviously. You can't rule Dillian out, man. He's definitely got a puncher's chance in that fight. 100% he's got a puncher's chance in that fight.
Absolutely, man. Listen, Laurie, appreciate you coming on. Thank you for sharing your opinion. And we'll see you back on the show next week. So big up to you. Good night. And we'll catch up again. We'll catch up soon, man. Big up, big up, big up. Shout out to Laurie from AFTV there, man. Always a pleasure having him on. My dad knows his stuff, knows what he's doing. Guys, yeah, we're going to wrap it up for tonight, man. Another great show here. Thank you to everybody for joining me on the live. And yeah, man, Dillian Whyte gets his revenge, knocks out Alexander Povetkin in 4 rounds. Fantastic performance from him. It's looking like Povetkin will retire now. So yeah, thank you all for letting me bringing in your comments. And don't forget to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you guys next week on a podcast, man. I appreciate your feedback as always. And we'll catch up soon, guys. Have a good night.